Hey race fans, Numbers Guy here with a recap of 2011 Dirt Mile race, won by Caleb's Posse with Shackelford running second. Um, this race, Caleb's Posse came in and won at 6-1 odds, so he was a little bit of a surprise. And his pattern is a bit interesting, forward moving, but it's got a twist and turn a little bit. Definitely forward moving though. And a bit of a subtle read, but it's there for you to see that he ran well. Is certainly not a shock if you're looking at the numbers and the patterns. Back in March, you can see he got down to a 7.5, which was a pretty quick number, then proceeded to bounce off that to 19.1, and then ran a couple other mediocre races, 12.3, 16.6. They gave him a little bit of freshening, brought him back in a sprint, and he runs his best ever at that point of 5.4. Comes back and runs what we call a pair up, so he ran the same number again, even though it was a little bit further distance. First was at 6.5, this was at 7, and actually his second race he actually beat the infamous Uncle Mo. And then it looks like, he's kind of reached a plateau at this 5.4, 5.5 level, which I don't really consider that to be especially strong, certainly solid, but not especially strong. But there is a bit of a caveat here. His last race, he actually ran at a route distance, stretching out to a mile and a 16th. Got beat in that race by Wilburn and I believe by Shackelford. And so even though it looks like he's at a plateau, I give a horse credit when they stay at the same level when they're stretching out. I think that that's actually a strong positive sign. Just along with that, a lot of times when we see a 2-year-old actually even regress off a sprint when they go to a route, I do not consider that a negative. Anyway, just move or stay the same at a route race, his first route race at this low level, I consider that a positive sign. He then proceeded to move forward, ran a 2.7. Shackelford, oh boy. Right back here, April. This is when I actually really grew to like this guy. He runs a 5.3, nearly wins the Florida Derby at 68-1. Barely lost that race, ran a bang-up race. And then he runs in the Derby, runs okay, 10.5, Preakness 9.5. Certainly was not bred to go the mile and a half of the Belmont, runs at 12.6. Comes back, forward moving again, 7.9, tails off again. So his form's a little bit in and out, but you can see in general it's forward moving. And then he moves forward again, runs second again to the Wilburn, 4.6. So he's forward moving. This 4.6 very strong because it improves on his earlier best of 5.3. When they improve on their best, they get to a new best and it's not so much faster than their previous best. This is a very good sign, very strong indicator that they're likely to run another big race. He did not actually move forward from that, but a 4.9 is certainly very strong. Trap Shot ran fourth in the race. He had some very good numbers here. 1.4, that's really fast. 1.7, very fast. Very low figs, but he's going from 6 furlongs to a mile. And again, I can't tell you how important it is to look when they're going from 6 furlongs and going 2 furlongs further. That's a big deal in horse racing. You cannot generally, unless they run like those distances and those low numbers at that distance, you just can't project that they're going to stay at the same level. And he did regress as the second favorite back to 5.6. The horse that disappointed me, surprisingly, was Wilburn. He actually went off as the 5-2 favorite, and his pattern is very strong. Going back to earlier in the year, he got down to a 6, bounced off that to a 13.2, and then moved forward, just steadily improved. 11.2, and then got down to running a 4.5, a 4.6, and in his last, where he actually crushed Shackelford and Caleb's Posse, the horses that ran 1-2 in this race, The only thing I can think of is that he likely may have bounced in this race. So the improvement was just as far as he was going to go, at least for right now. And he regressed in the Breeders' Cup. But that did surprise me a little bit. Two horses that didn't surprise me, even though they had good numbers, was the Factor. You can see 3.8, that's a fast number. But then he regressed soundly in his last, and that is always a bad sign in my opinion. So here he goes a 3.8, quick number, regresses 8.1, and that he ran poorly again in the Breeders' Cup is not a shocker. The other horse that had some pretty low numbers is Jersey Town. Same sort of thing. 3.2, 2.3, those are very quick. But then he regresses significantly, 7.1, that he ran a slower number in the Breeders' Cup again. It just follows. It just shows. Tapazar, okay, he only ran 5th, so not a huge amount of credit here, but he outran his odds by quite a bit. He was 17 to 1, second longest shot on the board, and beat half the field. And what his pattern is this 2.6 in October, which was his best race that he'd ever run in his life. And he'd clearly been out for a long time. When a horse comes back and runs their best after a long layoff, you can look for improved effort. Okay, well, he regressed, but again, he's stretching out, he's going a little bit further, and he certainly ran better than almost anyone expected him to run. Anyway, okay, Caleb's Posse. Lesson to be learned here is when they've got very low numbers, and this 5.4 was his best, so he's staying at a plateau at his best, comes back, runs his first plateau best at a route, you can look for further improvement. Shackelford just had general improvement down to his 4.6, which was better than his previous best of 5.3. Those are very, very strong patterns. And again, pay special attention, mind when they're stretching out. When you see Trap Shot running these low numbers at 6 furlongs, don't necessarily think he's going to be able to get those same low numbers going a flat mile. Well, that's it for the Breeders' Cup Mile, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.